What would John Murray say today?
Hey, I'm having a great day. Liverpool's in first place.
I found out.
And they play Sunday morning at the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford, Manchester United.
So what does first place mean in this Premier League?
Well, there's no postseason. So it's whoever has the best record.
Because there's a World Cup?
No, that's just the way the league works. There's no playoffs. Whoever has the best record is the champion. If baseball did it like that, the Dodgers win the World Series every year.
That's what I mean. This seems very like we have to have people play each other so we can actually know who the real champion is. Otherwise, they would have just gave it to UConn like 3 weeks ago.
No, but they play. There's 20 teams in the league, right? And you play 19 home games and 19 away games. You play every other team home and away. It's very clean. Very clean. Let's talk about you were in Cabo last week. Is that correct?
Yes, we did the show.
Do you want to do that's right. Are you going to do like stories about that, or are you going to do like a Kansas State rant of some kind, or do you want me to just go right into the weekend recap?
I don't have any rants that I know of.
Well, you were really quiet when I called into the show because you were reading some thing on X.
Oh, well, I was really quiet because I thought that I would hear you guys through the speakers. I hadn't put in my earpiece yet. And I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. And so then I had to get my glasses on, get in here really good and try to see what this kid was saying, because it was like some KU troll account that's trying to pose as like a 24/7 account saying that Coach Tang, who by the way just got Doug McDaniel, I'm sure he's going to take the job in Fayetteville.
Are those glasses, are they like a fashion statement, or
no? They're blue light so that I can still produce mitochondria and fall asleep at a decent hour.
I don't know why I asked that question.
You know that I'm like a giant hippie weirdo. Like, of course, you knew you're going to get like a terrible answer.
So when I look up, like right now, this is looking up. Don't think I'm not listening to you. I'm watching the Guardians game. So,
daytime baseball.
You know that like me and my boys, every sport, we pick a team, we bet them over wins, and then we all root for them together.
Yeah, I bet the over wins with you.
Baseball's Guardians. Hockey, we had the Blues. We already won that. NBA, we had the Pacers. We already won that. NFL was the Falcons.
Ew.
Yeah, that sucked, man. And they just sucked. And
they're going to suck again. And I like Raheem
fun.
Morris. He was a K-State coach for a little tenure. I think like 18 months.
I think this year, I don't want to do an NFL team. We'll do a college team, maybe.
I think that's what I've done.
I don't want
I think I've decided, well, we need to talk about this, and our audience needs to probably help us out with it. Because if we're keeping the show, I've got some ideas for next football season. But if we're not keeping the show, then I don't really know what to do with myself.
Are we still going to talk if we don't do the show?
No.
Okay.
Why? You don't even talk to me now in our group chat. Most of the time, it's just me and Ariel talking to you and Sam, and like and Uncle Ben chimes in never unless he's asleep in the Westgate Superbook.
We're gonna get to Ben on. So I got some notes from the weekend.
Oh boy.
Thursday night, the Bookhead, we had one of our best days of the whole tournament because Arizona lost to Clemson? Is that right? And then North Carolina just coughed up the game to Alabama.
That was great. I needed that.
They just gave it away. So we go to Friday. This is one of the things I want to talk about. I feel like I've been wrong about everything in this tournament. Like every game I've been wrong. I really haven't gotten anything correct. I thought that Marquette was going to blow out North Carolina State. And I can tell you that
was wild.
I'm looking at sharp accounts laying 6.5. I want to say 7, maybe. I don't know. 6.5, 6 maybe, 7 maybe. I don't remember. Everybody's on Marquette. Sharp guys.
And all the public's on North Carolina State money line.
They could not throw the ball into the ocean in that game. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know. I got no explanation there. So Saturday comes along. I brought Mario to work with me on Saturday, by the way.
Yes, it looked like he was a big hit.
So he met Mitch Moss. He met your guy Ben. So Mitch comes in with Ben. These guys, not Mitch, Ben and his Canadian guys.
Yes.
They get obliterated.
Yes, that's what they do.
And
have you never met Canadians? They're like Irish but different.
These guys are like falling asleep. They're falling like face down, like out of the chair, face down into the ground like that. They're
You know Uncle Ben listens to the show, right?
That's fine. So Ben wasn't Ben. Ben didn't fall face down.
Oh, Ben didn't fall face forward.
No, this is a whole group of people.
Well,
they're
but
all
this was
over the
another
place.
person in his group, is what you're saying.
Yes, and
Okay.
then like there was there's some young ladies in the room moving around, and these guys are like ogling these women, not physically, but like looking at them and talking about them. And I said to one of them, was like, "You guys don't get out much. Like you don't see a lot of women. I take it." And it's like they'd never seen a chick before.
Well, I think poor BK's wife, she's a nurse in Canada. I don't think she let him leave the house for like 3.5 years in his defense.
Well, so before the first game Saturday was UConn, Illinois. And I was talking to Mitch, I was talking to Ben, and Ben probably doesn't even remember this conversation now, but he said something about he was going to bet Illinois, which I didn't think was crazy. They were plus 8.5. But what I said was, of all the things that you can bet on today's a Saturday, and there was a UFC event, and there was baseball and NBA. There's all this stuff. You're choosing to say, I'm going to bet against UConn. Why?
I took Illinois in the first half +5.
But
I said I want no part of the second half of this game.
Why would you bet against that
the first half, and then they got boat raced in the second?
Yeah, they opened the second half on a 25-0 run.
Please see my tweet. I literally said I cannot trust Illinois for two halves of basketball. I liked them in the first half. They were tied with like 90 seconds left. I was pissed I pushed that.
So UConn advances. The night game was really good. I watched that whole game, Bama Clemson. I felt like Clemson played like as well as they could have possibly played.
Yeah.
Alabama just couldn't miss. Sunday, I guess the Canadians were gone or they had been removed from the country. They weren't here.
Were they removed from the Westgate? Did you guys 86 them?
No, we did ask them to leave.
Saturday?
No, Saturday, yeah. You can't sleep in the book.
I'm very aware.
Sunday, the Canadians.
See why we get the clubhouse? Do you see why we get the clubhouse? Because if you fall asleep in the clubhouse on like the front row, no one probably is going to notice.
No, probably not. Well, I don't know. Those guys, man, they can
put back some beers, two beers at a time.
Well, because your really good friend was here, Andy Samuelson.
Yeah, they were sending me selfies.
He was there with his buddy Dylan, and Dylan's son Jackson is a big fan of yours, big listener of the show. And these guys are from Wichita. That's a rough area. And even
you say that in jest, but it's a rough area.
Some of the pockets in Wichita are rough, but
these guys,
I've been there twice.
Yeah.
These guys from Wichita, they're looking over at these Canadian guys like, Jesus Christ, these guys are hammered. And these guys are from Wichita, man. Those guys get down.
Yeah.
Sunday, everybody's gone. We watched the Purdue Tennessee was a great game. And then again, but here's what I wanted to get to. Again, I thought Duke was going to beat NC State easily. And
Duke didn't deserve to win that Houston game, but that's a whole nother debate.
Well, I agree with that. But man, again, just completely wrong about everything in this tournament as we head into the Final Four. And here's another thing I've been wrong about. I didn't even write it down, so I apologize. But I bet UConn minus $7 at Caesars. That was the best price, and it was like $800. It was $800 and change to win like 100, like a little bit over $100, obviously. So that's all we're gonna have going into Monday if they win is like a little more than $900 from the 500. I thought rolling it over would pay more
than just putting a dime on the plus 750. Thanks, John Murray.
Obviously.
So not only were we chalk eating weasels, now we didn't even get the best of the number, and our viewers learned nothing other than not to listen to you about rolling.
You cannot be wrong about more stuff than I've been wrong about in this tournament. I don't even know.
Which is why I kind of feel like I need to take Alabama money line.
Well,
I took 12.
Let's talk about that game. So we did. Right now we're at UConn. No, let's do the Purdue game first because it's first chronologically, right?
Perfect.
So everybody's on North Carolina State.
Of course they are.
I mean, it's like 90% of the tickets. I mean, it's only, what's today, Thursday? It's only Thursday.
You know why you've gotten everything wrong in this tournament? Because if you just put on your Joe Public hat, you'd had everything right.
Oh, the
just
Guardians.
Bet what you saw last.
Sack fly. It's 3-0.
Okay, great. Cheers.
You think so? You think maybe not? Am I just too smart? Is that what the problem is?
No, it's what is happening over the last, what has been happening really since the Super Bowl. It all started with everybody going, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and it just, you can't bet against UConn, you can't bet against, Purdue. Double-digit favorites in this tournament, 15-3 against the spread.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
The only one outright loser was Kentucky. Yale beat Auburn. And then there was one more.
Well, I don't remember as well as you do, but Purdue, North Carolina.
Bad.
So I look at this game. Purdue -9. We've got -420 on the money line. I see everybody on North Carolina State. And I think to myself, me being who I am, whatever it is I am,
What are you?
Just an idiot, obviously, who's been wrong about every game.
Okay.
I think to myself, Purdue is going to win easily. Because I don't even remember, But
North Carolina State, we've been dead wrong. I mean, I was on them I was against them again when they played New Mexico, right?
They played Texas Tech. They played Texas Tech.
Oh, sorry. They played Texas Tech. See,
New Mexico played Clemson. New Mexico played
Okay, so, I was against both of them. So I was on Texas Tech.
You gamble on a lot of stuff.
Texas Tech, I laid 6.5. It closed 5. They lose outright. And I knew it was a dead-on loser before it even tipped off at that point. But this NC State team
how'd you know you were going to lose before the game even started?
The reverse line movement.
Jesus Christ. All right, go ahead.
You just know sometimes you're just like, oh, that's a fucking loser. Like, it's not like you just know, and it's okay. But it's almost like you can't bet the other side because then the game lands 6 and you just Polish middle to yourself.
Can you use that term, Polish middle?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that seems racist. I wouldn't say that.
Well, Poland's not a race, it's a nationality. So if anything, it's like anti-nationalist. Okay.
Let's go talk about something else. So
you said it.
Hey, you're the one that said Polish middle, not me.
What is that? What is it called?
A Polish middle.
Okay, thank you.
I just would never say it because I'm PC. So Purdue -9. I think Purdue's going to win easily. I
like Purdue. I was looking for an 8.5, but it's 9 even here in Florida, and I might just get stuck taking that instead.
The other game, the betting has been more interesting. I'll say that. The first game is just everyone's betting on North Carolina State.
Okay.
The betting on the second game is a little bit more interesting. We had a guy come in a couple of days ago, put 10,000 on Alabama plus 550, some sharp money at plus 12 on Alabama, knocked us down to 11.5 plus 525 money line. I get it. I mean, imagine a scenario in which a team that at one point was ranked number 1 in the country, that was a 4 seed in the tournament, and they just won a regional, and they're getting 12 points. That's just impossible. That doesn't happen. But then at the same time, why would you want to? There's so many things to bet on. There's so many things you could do with your money, Kelly. You could take Brett out to dinner. You could fly Brett here for my golf tournament, which is on April 21st. Why would you take that money and bet it against Connecticut? Tell us. It's crazy.
So first of all, I made the game like 8.5. If I'm getting real spicy, giving lots of love to UConn, I made it 9. So like 10. Okay, we're adding a little extra because UConn's covered 10 straight. They just manhandled another team in the second half with a 30-0 run.
Illinois would have been favored against Alabama.
Yeah, but not by much. And here's where the debate that I had last night, and that's why I asked you what you guys made the game, and then you sent me the screenshot of Superbook, so I'll talk about that on my next show tonight, because I thought Purdue -5 over Bama was real steep. I said 2.5, 3. So when you sent it to me, and I was like, wait a minute here, this seems very odd, because you guys have
what was Alabama against North Carolina? So that's
2.5.
No, North Carolina was more like 4. So you got to think Purdue.
All
Purdue
right, 4.5. Okay.
Purdue's
I drink a lot of
considered
tequila
better.
in Mexico in my defense. And also, I had food poisoning that night. So I was watching the game laying on the cold bathroom floor.
Really? Holy
Yes.
shit! Montezuma's revenge, or just
I
food
kind of
poisoning?
jinxed myself. My good friend CT was in New York, was like smoking cigarettes in the book, being obnoxious, didn't eat all weekend, just slamming a bunch of Vivas, and he came home sick. And I'm like, yeah, you wonder why you're sick because you haven't taken care of yourself in 72 hours. And he wrote back, I hope you get food poisoning in Mexico. So I
You can't. You know what? That's a good lesson though for all of us. We can't do that anymore. Like we can't. You can't just drink and eat like shit for 72 hours now. They could 15 years ago.
see, but that's the thing. I wasn't eating like shit. I ate everything everybody else ate. It could have been
Yeah.
bad oysters. I don't know, but I was fine. I'm smart. I'm a pro. What you do is you get an IV. So little nurse guy came to the house, hooked it right up. I was having a margarita 4 hours later.
So you had a chef come to your house and a nurse come to your house in Mexico. You're not a relatable person. People aren't gonna
Why else would you go to Mexico if you're not going to have people that can do things
people
for you?
people can't
I would
connect
just
with
go
you.
to down the street here in Florida.
I don't think that our listeners are going to be able to connect with you. I don't think you're relatable.
Okay.
Maybe we should stop the show. Uh, so the point is, we have Purdue minus 5.5 against Bama in a hypothetical game.
That's
UConn
crazy.
minus 6 against Purdue in a hypothetical game. We also have an exacta UConn over Purdue minus 120. I don't see how either of the underdogs has a chance on Saturday, but again, I'm wrong about fucking everything in this tournament. So don't listen to me.
I want to play Purdue. There's an 8.5 out there on the odds screen, and it's not 8.5 here yet, but I want to lay 8.5 with Purdue. I'm with you, but
Purdue had a
man,
tough Purdue had a tough game against Tennessee. Dalton
they
Connect.
did, and they
That was a
got
great
I
game.
laid 3.
That
They
was a
got
great
bailed
game.
out by the refs, admittedly so.
Well, Dalton Connect played great.
Here's where, and he was the only one that did anything for his team. Here's where my issue is. Sometimes teams just supersede any sort of rationale, handicapping, anything. And that's what NC State has done for like a month now between the
Well, no,
ACC tournament and this
less than a
tournament,
month. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, ACC.
right?
You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. They would have.
And then on the flip side, I kept saying Bama doesn't play any semblance of defense. They gave Nate Oates his contract extension way too early, and this team just keeps winning as well. Now, granted, they're going to have to shoot 42, 43% from 3 to have a chance to beat UConn. But I think there's also a discussion to be made that Alabama doesn't play defense. Well, Alabama plays defense. It's just overshadowed by their offense.
I don't really see. Again, I want to say it another time. I've been wrong about everything in this tournament, but I just feel like Alabama's style of running and gunning and shooting threes
It's not going to work
is
against
going to play
UConn.
right into Connecticut's hands.
Correct.
That seems like the exact opposite of what you should do against Connecticut.
I would agree with that.
So,
And you've got to be able to stop them down in the paint.
But
and
then why are you going to bet Alabama money line?
I told you I can't tell you.
Is it like one of these weird like what's that
Astrology
stuff that
things?
into? Yeah,
Yes.
astrology. Is that what it is?
Yes.
That's so stupid. Why would you do that?
It works for UFC bets.
But why don't you? Is Brett playing in my golf tournament?
I have asked him about 42 times. Apparently he was texting with you. Why don't you ask him?
I did. I said
here's what he has to come for, like a proxy lunch thing, and then he's got to stay through the weekend to play golf with you guys. And it's just, I think it's like, sorry, Vegas kind of sucks. I've been trying to tell you that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a terrible time on the golf course.
I didn't say you guys are gonna have a terrible time on the golf course, but the lag days in between, just there's a lot of construction right now. It's just like navigating there. Like I was there for Super Bowl. It was a long week.
Yeah, well, you don't have to drink for like 7 days. I mean, you could. Well, I guess you kind of do.
What else are you gonna go do? You gonna go to LVAC and get a workout in?
Brett could meet Mario.
Okay.
Brett could meet Mario.
You gonna let Brett stay at your house, or are you gonna get him a room at the Westgate?
I can get him a room.
I'll tell him to text you.
I just think that there's got to be something better you could be doing with your funds other than betting against Connecticut. I just don't know. They're like the perfect college basketball team. They go too deep at every position. Every time I'm watching them play, because I don't know. This.
Listen, I'm going to say this. If I'm Nate Oates, I'm taking the Dan Hurley quote and I'm posting it in the locker room.
That I don't know any of the players' names, right? Like I don't know. I know Zach Edey and I know DJ Burns. And I know Klingon and Newton from Connecticut.
Okay.
I don't know any other player in the tournament. I don't know their names. So when I'm watching Connecticut play and they just bring in these guys come in off the bench and this guy's he's dunking, he's shooting threes. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? They just come at you in waves.
I mean, they do have a really good bench. I'll say that.
You think?
But they don't utilize them very often. Like they have guys. What more than anything, they just fucking bully guys down low.
Good guy,
they give up a ton of fouls.
Klingon's great. Uh-oh.
They get a ton of turnovers on defense.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean,
Alabama
does the same thing, so I guess I don't really know. I'm not really using it as a comparison. I think 12 points is too many. But there was something that Dan Hurley tweeted earlier.
What's the astrology?
And what's that?
What's the astrology thing?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because it's not how this works. But let's just say, I was getting ready to say Dan Hurley tweeted something earlier, and I was like, "You done fucked up, Dan." And I sent it. He didn't say anything. Go to Dan Hurley's Twitter.
Oh, God,
he didn't say anything. He just commented with an emoji, and I was like, "And you're fucked."
I like Dan Hurley. Let's see here. Is this about what he quote tweeted Pat McAfee? Is that what it is?
I don't know who he quote tweeted. I just happened to see it on my timeline and I sent it to my buddy and I was like, yo. And he was like, holy shit, what is he doing? And I was like, don't know.
Let's talk about, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about the women's Final Four.
Why?
Because we actually.
Did you see any sharp plays? It is Thursday, April 4th. Did you see any sharp plays?
I told you, Alabama plus 12. We went to 11.5.
Okay. Perfect.
We got to talk about it. So, you know why we got to talk about it? Because honestly, on Monday, the biggest games for us were the two women's Elite Eight games.
I asked you if it broke any records, and you blew me off.
Well, I wasn't there. I wasn't at work on Monday night, but I am now. I was taking my normal 4-day weekend.
Those must be nice.
I was off on Monday and Tuesday. It did outright the national championship game from last year.
I asked you because I was seeing projections from other books, and you're like, oh, no way.
Well, I was wrong. Again, I'm wrong about the men's, the women's.
You've been wrong for 6 weeks.
I just totally wrong. We did outright. And then the thing I found interesting was we wrote a lot of money on it was UConn USC was the late game. UConn won that game. So what I want to talk about, though, is you were rooting for LSU against Iowa?
No, I told you I didn't bet the game. Okay. I told you that I wasn't a fan of Caitlin Clark. So
why?
We went over this last week on the show.
Did we?
I think she's whiny. She's LeBron-esque. She cries to the freaking referees. Even her dad is in the audience just being like, shut up. So when your dad's cut the shit.
Yeah. Do you like
maybe it's time to whatever. Listen, I'll say she was on her best behavior. Good for her, man. She didn't. Angel Reese I thought it was very petty. I love the pettiness. That's why I did the fingernail emoji. So when she put the crown on the seat, I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, I thought here's where I thought Angel Reese is wrong, because she played a great game. She had 17 points, 20 rebounds. Here's where she's wrong, though. She is the heel. She plays the villain, which I think is fine.
Did you hear what Ancho Emmanuel said? You can't play the villain
and then try to be
and then cry about it.
Well, I'm the
villain. I'll be the villain all day.
I think his name's Emmanuel Acho.
Yeah, that one.
But I didn't even know he said that. But yeah, you can't like last year when she's pointing to her ring finger after right in Caitlin Clark's face. Yeah. I don't really have a problem with any of it, except you can't turn around and then be hey, everyone's picking on me.
Yeah.
Well, of course they
You
are. You're
can't,
the bad
you
guy.
cannot wax your vajayjay on Instagram Live, show an outline of it, and then cry that you're being sexualized.
I don't like
Because she
where
did
that
that.
just turned.
And
That
then
is
she
something
posed
bad.
for Sports Illustrated. And then
Yeah.
she would be like, oh, I'm about to put this dress on, put it on, shake it around a little bit. Like, you're going to be sexualized as a woman in the public eye, regardless of what you do. So, how about you either embrace it
Yeah.
or be more modest if
Yeah.
that's not what you want to happen? You don't do what she's been doing. And
I'm
then
not.
she cries that she hasn't been happy in a year. Girl, you're getting paid. You just won a national championship. You're getting paid to do all of these other things. Maybe hire a therapist.
I don't like the way that this went. Like the
Sorry.
way, so that, like I was just gonna, like I was gonna talk about the game, and then
Oh,
you're talking about her waxing her private
well,
part.
that's what got sent to me. And it was like, I'm being sexualized. And I'm like, girl, I've seen what that thing looks like now. Thank you.
Oh my god, this really, this is my fault. I This is my fault. But no, we wrote a lot of money on the Iowa game, especially. You know that they put those two teams in the region trying to make that game, and
Of
it
course.
worked. They got great TV ratings. We got good volume out of it. We did lose a little bit of money. Iowa's a
K-State
2.5.
was in that side. Would have been nice, but
They were. Oh, they would have
yeah,
played. They would have played them in the Sweet 16, right?
they would have played Iowa in the Sweet 16. Yeah.
Right. So Iowa's minus 2.5 against Connecticut. Connecticut is really good too. It
Yes.
shows up. They were like 3.5 point favorite in the regional final, despite they were the 3 seed and USC was the 1 seed. UConn was still favored in that game. South Carolina's 11.5 against NC State.
Ooh.
Women's. How does NC State make it to the Final Four in both sports?
I don't know, but they should take
both-
back their university
both
president.
men's and
We got a university president that they need to own.
Man, that's very impressive. Going to be a really good weekend in college hoops, and not really anything else to talk about right now. We pulled Jokic MVP off the board. We've conceded it. Jokic is going to win his third MVP in 4 years. Probably should be his fourth in a row.
That's crazy.
And Gilbert Arenas.
I saw that.
Really not a good take. That's a bad take.
I've realized there's a lot of really bad takes, and I'm almost wondering if some of them are purposeful just so they can go viral.
Well, I think that they are, because you see these guys that know basketball, that they know what they're talking about, and they're saying stuff like, "Oh, I think Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers could play in the NBA," and it's like, no,
come on,
no, they couldn't. That is just, that's a bad.
What is going to happen to her in the Big Three?
I don't know.
Someone's going to put a hand in her face, and she's not going to be able to shoot.
Who plays in that? I don't know. But why can't we just say that Caitlin Clark is awesome and she's been really good for women's college basketball? And
can't say it.
And the UConn Iowa game is going to be great because you have these two great players. That doesn't mean I think they could go and guard Giannis.
Yeah, and then
nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know. Haley Van Lith or whatever her name is in the transfer portal. So I'm gonna get to my keyboard, see if she wants to live in Manhattan, Kansas. I think she'd super enjoy it. She looks great in purple already. Seems like a very good fit.
So nowadays these college athletes they just go play for a school for 1 year and then they just go to the highest bidder again the next year?
I'm not sure if there's going to be like contracts coming out or what, but there's going to have to be something because you're right. You just need to leave every other year.
This is never going to happen. Guardians just got gunned down at home plate, or Indians or whatever. This is never going to happen. But imagine if Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese went into the transfer portal, or Zach Edey went into the transfer. Like, what could they get?
More than they're already getting?
Yeah, not going to happen.
I, as somebody who's really kind of trying to be a little bit better versed in the NIL world, it's still a foreign language to me. And some of these schools have really deep pockets. And KU got really mad at me yesterday because I said, hey, did we learn a lesson here that just maybe you can't buy a championship by paying a player $1 million? And then they got all pissed off.
I just remembered something. So you were talking about saying outlandish things to go viral.
Yes.
So I had a friend of mine, I went to high school with. Really, he was a really good athlete. He said he saw the clip where you were talking. You were comparing yourself to Caitlin Clark, like a young Kelly, the basketball player. You would make shots and you would talk smack.
Yeah, I was a little asshole.
And then so he doesn't. So he wanted me to ask you, like he's a little skeptical that you were good at basketball. Do you want to respond to that?
He was skeptical. I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about like 6th and 7th grade basketball here,
But you
dude.
were
Like
so
in
you were.
Manhattan, Kansas. Like, how good did you really have to be? You have to
That's what we're
remember.
asking. That's what we're asking.
You have to remember, all the girls when they were that age that were tall were like baby giraffes. They were so uncoordinated. You
Yeah,
just dribble around them, hip check a little bit, throw an elbow, they fall over. It's like they're like a tree. Like
you're out there knocking little girls down.
yes,
Baby giraffe.
little girls. I was probably the littlest one still.
Yeah. So you were the shortest girl on the court.
Yeah, and I would just get pissed off because none of my teammates could shoot, so I would just drive to the hoop.
Right, so you would drive to the hoop, and then after you scored,
And then I would get an offensive foul. I fouled out of every single game I ever played in, every single one.
What? So you're like the Angel Reese of Manhattan, Kansas, essentially.
No? Yeah, but she's tall.
Right, but doesn't she foul out a lot? I mean, I don't really know that, but I know she fouled out of the UCLA.
It was a long time ago, but yeah, I mean, I'll see if my mom can find a picture. There's definitely no videos because unless somebody's parents had a camcorder, but like by like 7th, 8th grade, it was done. I got in trouble for getting in a fight, so I wasn't allowed to play anymore. Like and then
in the basketball game, or
yeah, and then
you weren't allowed to play anymore.
Yes. And then I got in trouble for like something else. And then basically once these other girls, oh no, I didn't get in trouble. I dislocated my patella and right before 8th grade basketball tryouts. So I was done for the year. And then the next year I went to 9th grade basketball tryouts. They're like, we know you have a problem. You have an attitude that you're uncoachable, that you're all these things. And I'm like, okay.
I think
but I'm still good. And I'm like, I'm still good. And then I really wasn't that good because once you could get a hand in my face, I was screwed. I didn't keep growing. I was like 5'2". And then by then, those uncoordinated giraffe girls were pretty good.
Why'd you go with giraffe in that analogy?
Because like think about like when the baby giraffe comes out and it's like and it's like it can't get its legs and it's like really uncoordinated for a little bit and it like tries to walk around and it falls over. That's how those girls were because they were like tall, but they were so uncoordinated. So what else would you use for an animal example?
I don't know. I just was curious. Do you want to go to the mailbag or do you want to keep reliving your glory days?
Let me tell you, those are some glory days.
That's what my buddy asked. He's like, I don't think he could believe that you were a basketball player.
Well,
so let's talk to her. Let's find out. Caitlin Clark is pretty good. That's a big comparison.
Of course, she's very good. I meant from the attitude perspective.
Like, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I played.
Like she passed the ball. I'll say this much: she passed the ball a lot more in that game than I thought she would.
Didn't she lead the nation in assists?
I know.
Mailbag.
Cheese the moment on X says, Kelly, it was awesome getting acquainted with you from the New York Rival show yesterday. My question is, how do you feel about round robins? Do you find value in them? Yeah, the New York Rival show, that was super fun. John Murray did a show with 3 guys from New York. It was really funny because they asked me about the New York Giants season win total. And I'm like, can we wait till after the draft, free agency, maybe, some OTAs and then talk about it? And they're like, yeah, that might be a good idea.
Why is it always about the NFL? Indians just gave up a home run, but the guy on the Twins is on my fantasy team.
Oh.
So I'm okay with it.
Oh, sure you are.
But all right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was watching the game. Go ahead. Answer the question.
Good. I had to change my AirPod because it died because you haven't stopped talking. Generals_George on X says, you guys are the best. I'm on the same side with you. 18.
Wait, do we answer Cheese's question?
Oh, round robins.
How do you
Sorry.
feel about it? I don't play round robins. How do you feel about it?
I should. Okay, so I need to figure out if I need to go back and look through my old Excel spreadsheets and say, okay, had I round robined 2 out of 3 of those underdogs, would I have made money?
Yeah, but then you're also going to be losing more times too, because now, like, if you're doing 2s and 3s round robins, that's 4 bets instead of 1.
Correct.
So
So I'd have to adjust my unit size accordingly.
so anytime you lose more than one of your games, you're going to lose 4 bets instead of 1 bet. So I don't
Yeah, if
know.
you go 0 for, or you only have one outright winner.
And even if you win 2 of the games, you're still going to be losing 3 bets. The other 2 teamers and the 3 teamer all lose. So
Okay,
it's
so
tough.
you're saying, so I have 3 dogs to win outright. So you're saying I'm going to have these two, and these 2. So that's 3 bets, and then 1 3-teamer.
Yeah, you'd have teams.
So 2 out of 3
A, B.
doesn't break even.
Well, I don't. It depends how big the dogs are.
Right.
Depends how big. But think about it like this:
250 or higher. They'll be 250 or higher.
You've got AB, AC, BC, and then ABC. So if any of them lose, you lose 3 of your bets, just like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Now you'd have to.
So I'd have to see how the bet size accordingly. So no, not round robins, and I have yet to find value in them. Okay, you guys are the best. I'm on the same side as you with $1,800 on UConn at plus 800. Would you let it ride or hedge it at all?
Is this guy is at generals_George on X, formerly?
I already read that name.
Is he taking a shot at us here? That he because he just put the whole thing on the future, and he's got 8-1 to our 750. Is he trying to show us up a little bit?
What is the 7? What do we have? 500 at the 750?
Yeah, plus 750.
I'd rather just bet Alabama money line at this point. I'm over it.
This guy, I think he's showing us up. No, I wouldn't hedge anything on Saturday. Come on.
I agree. At Cowboys_Cubs, 1 on X says, when John Murray talks about himself in third person, does he simply use Kelly's John Murray, one word, or does he go full on GOAT, throwing out titles like Sportsbook director John Murray, or the Westgate's John Murray, or Jeff Sherman's protege John Murray?
This question made the mailbag.
I never picked them. You know this. I never read them beforehand.
I don't know. I don't really refer to myself in the third person, but the employees, I make them call me like the director or Mr. Murray, because I don't really talk to too many of the employees.
Oh, sure you don't.
I just don't know their names. It's all vagaries.
Oh, sure.
Next question. Sorry,
I had to Slack message Wager Talk and let them know I'm going to be right on time for the live show and not to be worried. Dan Rivera.
I have a show at 3 with Taylor, so.
But she has to wait for you because you're super important. Dan Rivera, 228. Are you ready for the Bitcoin halving on the expected date of April 20th?
Why did you say halving like that?
Halving? Because it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird. I've never heard of a word halving.
Like in soccer, the first.
I know it's not. It's not halving because it's not an
Am I ready for it? Yeah, I'm ready for it.
What does that even mean?
Who knows? Bitcoin, Kelly.
What does that even mean? What does halving mean? Like it's not an atom splitting in 2.
Let's go to the next question.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Then why the fuck did JH pick it for her?
I don't understand. Like, what does he want us to do on April 20th? Are we ready? I'm not going to do anything differently. I'm just going to keep buying more Bitcoin forever.
Okay.
So, am I ready for it? Yes.
Vincent PGH on X says, how do comps work at the sportsbook or with horses? Do you even offer comps to high level players? Yeah, I get a comp every time I come to the Westgate.
Yeah. Well, you're like a revered media partner.
Oh, I'm a media partner.
That's what we do.
Pretty sure my credit card still got charged when I checked out last time, but that's.
Didn't I get those charges reversed?
No.
You're kidding me, really?
No. And I'm just not going to follow up and bother you because you're too important. Stop.
No, I'll check on it. You're kidding. Those charges are reversed? I gotta write that down.
It's like 2 months ago.
I didn't know that. I just assumed
it.
I just assumed it had been taken care of. Comps are going to vary from sportsbook to sportsbook, and they are all going to comp you more generously on the horse side. Think about it. Well, in Nevada, we're not the ones booking the horse races.
That's right.
It's all we want in Nevada is handle on the horses. So
That's
you
right.
get comp pretty generously on the race side. Sports side, the comps are not going to be as generous as they are at the tables, slot machines. Why is that? Because if I bet on a football game and I lose, it still took me like 4 hours to lose.
Yeah.
But you can't comp at a rate you comp a guy pulling a slot machine. Slot jockey, they call those guys.
Slot jockey. Smooth Turn 2 on X says, when in a losing streak, do you change up your handicapping or stick to the process? In regard to your process, do you change, evolve with time and experience, or do you stick with what you know? You want me to answer that?
Have you ever been in a losing streak?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been really fun. I never really had big losing streaks. It was just like like little baby roller coaster rides, and then like the last month has been like so.
Is that right? Because you told me you had this terrible NFL season too.
Well, NFL was like the only thing that kept me afloat during football season was my college football. I felt like I won on Saturday, gave it back on Sunday.
So what do you do when you're in a losing streak? Do you change anything, or you just keep being like?
Well, I think sometimes it's okay to take a step back. What are you doing wrong? I like to put in my notes? How did I lose a game? Was it by bad luck? Did I lose it on a pick six? Texas Tech, Missouri. Did I handicap the game right? Was +8 the right side? Probably, but wrong result. So I like to know, why did I lose? Did I just flat out have a team dead wrong, dead to rights from start to finish? Did I get a backdoor cover on a win? So like I like to keep notes like that, and like, how did I lose? Why did I lose? How did I win? Why did I win? So then when you go back and you start reflecting on these streaks, and it's like, okay, what did I do during the streak? Did I have a lot of luck go my way? Or was it my handicapping, right? And yes, I do think it's very important to change and evolve with the times, especially the way things are going, right? Like there used to be a period in time, like I remember in college, my buddy's like, oh, 76% of the tickets are on this side. That means this team's going to win. And then it did. And I was like, how the fuck did he know that? Right. And now
that was probably
all the public does is win.
Well, that could have just been a coincidence.
Probably.
Like every
but in 2004, not everybody had access to that information.
Look at James Madison from the first weekend of the tournament.
Yeah.
Everybody bet on them against Wisconsin, and they won pretty easily. And then 2 days later, everybody bet on them against Duke, and they got run off the floor. Yes. I don't think that's a good indicator of what's going to happen.
I don't either. But what I'm saying is that sometimes NC State, for example, sometimes you're just wrong on a team. Sometimes teams are anomalies. Sometimes it's just okay to say, guess what? I don't have a good read on a team. There's a point in time where I have a do not bet list. Just put some teams on it.
Is that official? Like, do you keep it written down somewhere?
Yes.
Or is it just like locked in your head like a vault?
No, it's in my note sheet.
Really?
You know who was on the do not bet list? Mississippi State. I was 0-4 with those godforsaken losers during the regular season.
I think you shouldn't really change up anything you're doing based on a losing or winning streak. It's probably nothing more than a little bit of variance. And you're probably going to have, you're going to have times where you have the wrong side and you win. And that's going to happen probably about as
Purdue.
often.
I had Purdue last week, and I was like, oh, you're not getting any apologies from me. I don't care that Zach Edey got every single whistle.
Didn't I give you that pick?
I think you might have texted the group after I'd already played it. It was a Cabo group consensus pick.
Well, it's tough. The tough thing with you is if I give you a winner, it's always like,
okay. I'll check the timestamps. I'll check the Cabo timestamps to see when you text it and when I bet it. How about that? Will that make you feel better?
Look, I know everybody wants picks. I know that. All I can really say of the big games this weekend, we did see some sharp money on Alabama. That's why the numbers come down a little bit. And everybody is on NC State in the first game. So that is what I'm seeing behind the counter. I don't know what else to say. I haven't seen any of our
in regards to the totals, because everybody's going to bet Alabama over.
We haven't seen our sharp total groups on the over or the under of either game yet. So I know people will be disappointed to hear that, but we are 2 days away from the game. I don't know how you step in front of the Connecticut train. I think if you step in front of the Connecticut train, you could end up like Canadian Ben and his friends, literally face down on the sportsbook floor after the game, after after a 30-0 run, and you'll have security come and say, "Sir, get the hell out of here." Do you want that to be you, Kelly?
No.
Me neither. So we're gonna come back. When are we doing the show next week? Tuesday? Wednesday?
I get back from Boston Monday. Yeah, Tuesday's fine.
I think we should do it on Tuesday. We're going to preview the Masters.
Yes.
Scotty Scheffler is 9-2 to win the Masters.
That's insane. That's just flat out insane.
It's unbelievable. I have not seen anything like this since the heyday of the great Eldrick Tiger Woods, the legend. That was the last time
Eldrick.
Prices like this. It's unbelievable.
His dad, K-State catcher. Yes, John Murray, I'm doing a Masters pool. If you have not seen it, I teamed up with Pam Maldonado because I know nothing about golf. $50 entry, $50,000 in prizes. Top 25 get paid. Splashsports.com/Kelly Vegas.
Oh yeah, another thing. One of my guys was criticizing you. There's another kid, not the one that was talking about the basketball. But
see, I can't fucking win.
But this another kid. This separate conversation. Another kid I went to high school with, and he was critical of you talking about these overlays when they don't end up being overlays.
What?
That's what he said. He said
the last one has like a $9,000 overlay. The Sweet 16 one that's only got like 8 people left.
Really? It has a big overlay?
Yeah.
So he's wrong. So I got to go back to him and be like, hey.
No, it's 1-1. The first contest ended up filling. The second one had like, I'll do the math. I think it's like $8,400 in overlays.
We're in that one. We're in the first one.
Told you to re-up for the second. You didn't listen.
How much money do you think I have?
It's $25.
Oh, okay. I could have done that. All right, so we'll talk. We'll talk Tuesday about the Masters, and we'll recap, and then hopefully me and you will be rich with our UConn money.